Hey, it's Midnight Raven, and today we are doing part 3 of the Lovers Lane Slayings case. Welcome to my channel. This is True Crime with Raven, and today we're going to find out exactly how 3 couples were killed in, if you want to call it, the heat of passion, in their cars. They'd gone to Lovers Lane, a little secluded, nookie place, if you want to call it that, for monetization purposes, and they'd gone there for a bit of fun, and unfortunately they had either been strangled or shot to death. The first couple was a lesbian couple, and the second couples were male and female, but unfortunately they still had their demise and were murdered. So today we're going to discover who was behind the Lovers Lane killings, the reasons why, and just delve deep into this case. So let's get into this video. If you haven't already seen part 1 and 2, I do implore you to watch all the way through because it does give you a broad view of the entire case. So, huge efforts had gone into recovering the bodies. With extensive searches of nearby woodland being conducted, the trail behind the abandoned cars had gone cold. So, the final couple that would be killed took place in September 1989. Now, Daniel was driving his brother's girlfriend, Anna Marie, home on Labor Day weekend. This is a celebration in America. The car was found at a nearby restaurant, and the pair were reported missing. So this wasn't even a couple. This was a friend taking his brother's girlfriend somewhere after Labor weekend. So the pair were reported missing. The vehicle was on the westbound side of the road, pointing away from their destination of Virginia Beach. As in the other cases, clothes and wallets were found in the car, meaning it was not a robbery because nothing was taken. Normally, if you're going to rob somebody, you get the people out of the car, you tie them up maybe, and then you'd steal their shit or maybe even drive off with the car. But once again, no things had been taken from the car, so it obviously wasn't a robbery. But with no traces of the couple, fears grew, however, that they may have also been killed. And unfortunately, on October the 19th, their bodies were found on a logging road about a mile from their car. So once again, someone had got this couple, or if you want to call it friend with a brother's girlfriend, out of the car, moved them away from the car down the road, and then killed them. So their bodies were wrapped in a blanket that had been taken from their own vehicle. Both bodies were decomposed, so official cause of death couldn't be determined at that point. Anna Marie's bones were then examined, and it seemed that she seemed to have multiple stab wounds. So, compared to other cases where the lesbian couple had been strangled and shot, and then the second couple had also been shot, and then the third couple had also been shot, this seemed a more personal case because this time they'd been repeatedly stabbed. So this seemed like a more angry serial killer. Whether he was showing signs of anger, or whether he was showing signs of like some kind of distress, that maybe he was sick of the killing and that he just wanted to be caught by, a stabbing motion is a more vicious personal crime. So with the lack of physical evidence or forensics, their last motives from when they left the car to being found dead are very few and far between. With the bones being analysed, they can suggest that maybe there were stab wounds, but what happened between leaving the car and being found dead, they have nothing to go on. So working on the cases, one might say that the cases seemed unrelated. At first glance, a female couple who was shot, they happened to be lesbian. At that point, it was thought maybe it was a targeted case and that people back in that day were not as open to lesbians and gays. So the second was a couple who was stabbed but had been bound and restrained, something we didn't see in the previous case. And then the third case, it didn't seem like the 4 cases were done by a serial killer. Each seemed slightly different. So you got the lesbian couple at the start, the second couple had been restrained on their arms, the third couple hadn't been restrained, and then this fourth attack wasn't even on a couple, it was on a friend and a brother's girlfriend, but it would look like they were a couple because they were male and female. So, although you had that, the fact that the killings had happened in such a close proximity gave them the theory that it had to be targeted attacks and done by a serial killer. It seemed too close to call that 4 different attacks could happen right in the same area and not be connected. So, what were the FBI going to do to find this killer? With such differences within the cases, but the belief that they were still connected, the FBI decided to create what they call a profile. So they get this psychological theorist, if you want to call it, who will read the mind into a killer, and they give you a supposed profile of the serial killer you're looking for to narrow down your search. So the serial killer they thought they were looking for was a guy in his 30s or 40s with a regular job and a wife, and maybe worked with children because of when the killings happened during the weekend and during school holidays, which meant if it was a school teacher, a caretaker or something, they were working during the week and then they were off at the weekends and off on school holidays to commit the murders. Like, talk about creating a schedule for killing. So, despite this profile that had been let out to the public, the police had few and far tips to go on throughout the years. In the 30 years of investigating the crime, 150 suspects had been looked into. So there were various serial killers, there were various nut jobs, if you want to call them, people who had escaped from asylums, people who were just weird in the area. So the chances of a break in the case and solving this case after 30 years of investigating seem very small. The hope still remains for an answer to who the killer is, and the motive for these killings still remains undetermined. Maybe it was a scorned lover, maybe he had a hatred for women, maybe he was a single man that had a hatred for couples, maybe the guy had come out of a rough marriage, or maybe he was just a complete nutjob who just had a thing for brutally murdering and torturing people. That's also a possibility. But for now, this is an open case. Right now, it still remains open to this day. These 4 couples, although the last one wasn't necessarily a couple, were murdered and taken, if you want to call it, in the prime of their youth. Basically, they were just hanging out, doing nothing untoward. Did they deserve to die? Absolutely not. Do they deserve justice? 100%. Are they going to get it? Right now, it seems unlikely with 30 years under its belt, but you never know. DNA, forensics, and all that kind of science is improving as we go along day by day. So is it possible we could find out the Lovers Lane Slayings killer? Absolutely. No case is 100% not solvable. It just takes time compared to other cases. But if you want to like, subscribe, and give us a big thumbs up, comment down below. Do you believe these cases are connected? Is it too similar? It happened in the same area? Or are the 4 cases done by different people because they have varying similarities, but they also have differences? Let me know down below. This is True Crime with Raven. If you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member, PayPal, or if you just want to donate to the channel, by super chat. That's all well and good. Like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon for another case. Take care and thanks for watching. Bye, guys.